Okay, so the basic workflow on this camera. I don't use a tripod, I just use a simple stick with a thread on at the end. This is how the camera looks like size-wise. Sorry. So I just stick this thing in the ground so that I don't have a footprint. It cannot fall over because it's right on the stick. I have a longer version of the stick. Push and hold the back button and it turns on. And this little light turns blue when it connects the wireless to your phone or what. I'm going to put this here in the grass. Okay, I'm here today to show you the basics of the Samsung Gear 360, the 2017 model. I'm using an iPhone and a Mac computer for this. And the first thing we check is if we have an SD card in the camera. And then once that is happening, then we're going to connect through Wi-Fi. So the camera and the phone connects via Wi-Fi. I'm going to go in my settings. For the Wi-Fi, I see it's there, logged into this, and then I open the Gear 360 software, where it usually starts on this screen here, in this screen, and in this screen I can do some basic settings. I can look at the gallery, this is the pictures I took already, and then I can check the camera. Now, I can, in this mode, take a photo. You see up there on top it says photo. I can enable HDR. I have settings for the photo here, ISO and all kinds of stuff. And then if I push the button in the middle here, then I take a picture. You heard it. The modes I have is here video, photo, time-lapse, video looping and landscape. All those have settings. So if I switch to video, for example, in the upper right corner the settings change for video now. So I have video size here on top just to show that. It shows me the different sizes this thing can record. So the highest would be this 4K. There. For the rest you don't need to know much. So I took pictures already now. And let me show you quick how I did this. So first we have to take the camera inside and connect it via USB to our computer. When you push and hold the back button there with the red writing on it, the camera turns off. Good. So now that we are done taking our videos and pictures, we can look on the phone at the gallery button, and then we can see the pictures that were taken on here. And I can scroll through. You see here are some in the yard. I did one earlier today in a restaurant, and I can look at details, and then it shows me when it was taken and where it was taken, what location, with a little Google map, the resolution of the picture and everything. And one thing I have to say is that when you have it here, it does stitch the picture in your phone or on your desktop computer. It doesn't do it in the camera, like the Ricoh Theta, for example, does it inside the camera. This one does not. Once it is stitched, you can look at it here, like in this kind of view, and then you can look at it. See that? And this is in stretched view. You can change the views to something else. Look to, for I think, dual view. You see the two different cameras on there, or around view they have. So it's like a little planet situation, or a 360 view, like this. Okay. Now, if you have a picture what was not stitched yet, like this one maybe. Yeah, this was a time lapse. I don't know how long this takes. A time lapse, you can't do much with it. You can save it. That has to be done on the computer. What is this? This is already stitched. What else do I have? This one here. Yeah, that's when it doesn't, when it does a stitch, right? So this is how this looks like. Once it's done stitching, then you can save it to your computer, like here with this save, and it saves it to your iPad or iPhone, whatever you use here. Okay, so this is how it works in the phone now. Now, if we connect the camera to a computer, that all looks a little different, and that's what I'm showing you next. Alright, so when you insert a USB cable into the camera and connect the camera to your desktop, in my case here a Mac, you get an icon for the camera, or for the drive here, and on there is this following structure. There is the SD card in there, and there is the photo folder, and then the systems folder. For the nosy ones, there's a license and a device XML file in there. In the photo folder, there is the photos we took today. You can see the file size. We did an 4K video for a few seconds, for half a minute. It's 120. This is a time lapse here, this one. Those other ones are single HDR or not images. We can take a look at one, for example this one. Then we see how the camera took the picture, how that looked like. Right? So it does those two circles, and then this has to be stitched together. In order to do that, we need a software here that comes with a Gear 360. That app only works if you have a serial number of a camera. So with your camera serial number, you can activate this software. MPEG-4 do not work on Mac. You can't just play them. You need a conversion tool, a video converter, to do this, or the Gear app. Now if I start the Gear app, you can either do a live broadcast with the camera or a 360 player. That's what we do right now. So it has a window like this, right? And so the moment we drag and drop those files in here, it starts converting and using the full CPU of your computer to do that. So I'm going to take all of them, including the 4K video, and drag this in here. And then I can basically close my photo folder on the camera. And then you see how up here, one by one, will be imported and converted to a stitched picture. If I open the folder of this app, then you will see in here there is a 360 folder it generates, and inside there it puts those stitched photos and videos. I usually copy the files from the SD card to my computer first, in the folder SD card, and then I let this thing do its job. So I don't run it from the SD card on the camera, because that takes a lot longer, as if I would have it here on my computer. And it will fill it up. The folder capture happens when you do an image, a screen capture here within this tool. We can look at one here, for example this one. Now, after it's stitched, then we get this equi-rectangular one. And you see here the seams you can almost not see. Okay, if you want to do this 3D situation, then you can use this tool, right? So the already stitched one, like this one, you look at it like this, or you click here on there, and then you can zoom around. Where's the dog? There. You can zoom in and out. You can look at it as a world thing here, this one. is like a small world. You can still move it around though. If you want to be on top of the world, just spin it around. Like this, for example. Like this, right? And if you now click this one, then it puts it in this folder. Here in the capture folder. So now you have in there this stitched folder as Earth or whatever you call it. The little ball there. And you can email this or whatever you want to do with it. Yeah, so the interesting part for you guys would be then video. If video is ready here, you see this takes a long time because this was the 4K one for half a minute. I'm doing the screen recording, everything, so that slows my computer down a little bit. I'm going to interrupt here for a sec, and when it's done, I continue here with my screen recording. So we are back here. I don't know how long it's done already, but it is. So now, after they are stitched, we have those videos here. Now, you can't tell which one is a video and which one is not from those numbers. You just have to click on it. And then if you have this kind of button, let me tuck this in here. If you have this kind of button, then it's a picture. You can go through this list here, back and forth. There. So this is obviously a video. There was a time-lapse video, as you can see. So you can now move around in here, within the time-lapse video. See that? Or when we go to the previous one, this was a real 4K video. So you can here look this up. You see graininess and weird stuff happening. That's just what it is. You see it zooming in and out on its own. What can I say? This is what it does. That is Samsung with its software here. So I don't know how to fix that kind of thing. That is basically when you see here this thing happening here, or here at the fence. Did you see that? I'll play this again. So you see here this moving here by the seam. That's the stitching software doing this kind of thing. The camera is super steady, as you can see how we put it in the ground. Stitching software, all I can say, right? So if you use a different software to stitch, okay then, right? Alright, so yeah, that's the workflow on this thing. While the video is stopped, you can do this. You can play, pause, and then move. Stop, and then you look, you zoom. That's how the workflow works here. Now, those videos are now in this directory on your computer. And here are the stitched and injected ones. So those you can upload to YouTube, the injected ones. If you decide to work on those yourself, you can double click on this. If you try to play it on your computer, if you try to edit it on your computer, you can use Final Cut or after you do that, you would have to re-inject it with the 3D or the VR injector there from Google to make it playable there on YouTube. Yeah, other than that, you have to see. Watch my YouTube videos and how you like the quality there of the camera. And yeah, as I said, basic workflow. Hope that helps you guys.